Hey guys, thanks for visiting Extreme Health Radio, where we have weekly radio shows designed to empower you to take back control of your health and life. This audio blog is brought to you by Morocco Method. This is raw, vegan, organic, wildcrafted, picked on the lunar cycle hair and skincare products. They leave your hair and skin feeling shiny and clean. And even if you have oily hair, it really helps to restore the balance. If you're interested in checking out these products, go to extremehealthradio.com/mm for Morocco Method, and they are also in our store if you're interested in looking at these products or purchasing them. All right, let's get going. So this blog I titled, I Got My Blood Results Back and Had a Complete Breakdown. Here's what happened. So today was day 12 of the Feel Good Project, and let me be honest, today was not pretty. In fact, it was the polar opposite. Today was a very, very ugly, ugly day. And I am not talking about the weather here. I am talking about the hard knocks that life brought today. Just the constant ups and downs really made me reach my breaking point today, and I haven't been there in a long time. So my ego could be really embarrassed by the following things that I'm going to cover in my blog today. And my ego is still telling me not to go there, but the key goal when I started this project was to be honest and unashamed of where I'm at. And I'm doing this in hopes that some can probably relate, most possibly relate, and not feel so alone in where they are too. So no amount of thankful or positive emails could have come my way today to change my feelings. It was just the lowest of the low. I'm finding this experience with Extreme Health Radio to be a really unique one when I feel like the first time in my life it's what I'm truly, truly called to do. And I feel like I'm hopefully going to be used to make some sort of impact in the world and the people who are in my world and kind of come across our work. But never before have I ever felt so aligned with my purpose. The really very reason why I was brought to this planet in the first place. However, it feels like the exact opposite some days. It can feel some days like the absolute best feeling in the entire universe. However, the flip side of the coin is the frustration that often accompanies this kind of living. I could never, ever have imagined it would be this challenging. It's like one minute I receive the most heartfelt email about how my or our work has really been helping to change people's lives and how we've personally impacted their life, which I still find just as a super humble blessing. And that these people can really relate to us and find the two of us to be extremely motivational or helpful. And it makes me feel like I'm absolutely just on top of the world, and I get super fired up and just excited about my true passions kind of coming forward. And the very next minute, the you-know-what kind of hits the fan, and the next email is an email announcing that I just received yet another overdraft fee from the bank because I wasn't able to pay my bills on time yet one more time. So I was really struggling today with how are we supposed to keep the radio show going with such a lack of funds, much less even live. And just when we feel comfortable and we feel like we're able to come up for air and survive a little bit, we just get knocked over by a giant wave that seems to carry us farther back than to where we had just started from. And I'm really not trying to be a complainer or a victim in this situation. I'm just trying to be truly honest about the not so glamorous side of following my soul's calling, even when it makes absolutely zero sense to me anymore. And today I threw up my hands and waved the white flag of surrender today, and I gave up. And although the orchid essences I've been taking recently have really stepped in to create a calmness in my body, no amount of that could save me from my moment of complete and utter defeat today. I felt like all the calm I'd been storing up in my body just left me in an instant, and I found myself actually crying in a park while I was walking Maggie today while the sun was setting, and it was definitely not my finest moment. So, backing up about a half hour before my ugly meltdown in the park incident, I did receive another automated notice email that my other account, which was one that actually was in the positive by a small amount, was now almost $100 overdrawn. And I thought, what? I could not take anymore. And I reasoned that there must be some kind of mistake, and I knew I had the exact amount in that account that was needed to cover one pending transaction that was going to be going out over the next few days. So what had happened was the spiritual center that I am going to be going away next week to, had basically charged my credit card or my ATM card double. They were supposed to take a deposit for one night, and they ended up completely doubling and paying for my entire stay instead of just the small amount needed for the deposit. And I thought, you have to be kidding me. And of all things, it happened on a bank holiday. And I was thinking, really? The bank was not even open today out of all days of the month to be able to go make a deposit to make this account positive by the end of the day. So I got on the phone to the retreat center immediately, and I informed them of their mistake. They were really cool, and they voided the transaction right away on their end within 20 minutes of posting it. However, then I called the bank, and the bank told me that the funds could not be deposited for probably up to 3 to 4 days. And not only had they charged my entire stay other than a deposit, but they had charged a deposit that my friend who's going up with me to the retreat center, she had called to give her own credit card as a deposit. And for some reason, they charged my card for mine whole stay and her amount as well. And there just wasn't any reason for this. It just seemed just so random. And I don't know about you, but having my hands completely tied like this, things felt completely out of control. And it put me in a very bad mood. The woman at the spiritual center, retreat center, was super sweet, and she apologized profusely and offered to pay for the fees if this would cause me a problem in my bank account. However, no amount of her feeling bad could change my situation. And I was a bit more stern than I usually am, but I kept my cool, and I just exploded to Justin after I hung up the phone call with her, as I just couldn't handle it anymore. And I thought, how could this happen? So under his breath, he was just steaming, and he had a few choice words, actually, and I think I saw steam coming out of his ears. I had to stop him from actually calling the place himself to lash out at someone, as he thought this was absolutely ridiculous. We talked about it and completely both agreed that no matter how sweet, nice, spiritual, or even old or cute these women were that run the retreat center, this was just very bad business that should not have happened, and it just caused nothing but added stress to our end. So I had to throw my hands up, and knowing that it couldn't be changed or fixed at that specific point in time, I just needed to get out. I was going mental. So I headed out to the park with Maggie, and I was walking up a hill, and I just couldn't hold back the tears anymore. And I cried, and I haven't cried in a while, but I just hit my breaking point. And then I continued to just really wrestle with God in my head, and actually even a little out loud, just asking him why. And the entire walk was just asking why and telling him that I just didn't think I could keep going. I told God that I needed to know whether or not I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, and it felt like I was doing either exactly what I was supposed to be doing or the exact opposite. I just can't tell anymore. And it's something, when you have this kind of opposition in your life, I feel like overcoming it is so worth it sometimes, but other times I feel like the opposition is so huge. I have to ask myself if this is really, am I going in the wrong direction? I guess I had to ask myself. It's just becoming so much to handle. It's one or the other, and I just am so unclear on it. I continued to rant on and on in my head to God about the retreat center lady's mistake, and I still had a really hard time letting that one go. But I asked God what the lesson was, if there even was one in this, and it really seemed senseless to me. So it was starting to get dark, and I had to get Maggie back home, and I had zero answers. Until I walked past a disgusting, dirty tea bag that had been in the middle of the street, run over by people's tires, looking like it had been in that location for years. And for some reason, that dingy, faded tea bag paper that's on the little tea bag caught my attention, and I don't know what it was about it, but it literally made me stop and walk back about 20 feet to take a closer look at it. And I'm sure you know how this one is going to end, I'm assuming, at this point. Of course, my lesson was written in humble, simple words laying in the gutter. And it read, "Socialize with kindness, compassion, and grace." And I actually hung my head in the middle of the street as I felt like I had just failed miserably. I felt like I'd been given a test of wills today, and I had never done worse in my life, in my opinion. But there it was, and it changed me immediately. There was no way after reading that message that I could go on the same rant that I'd been having in my head and out loud with God as I could before I saw the message. I immediately dropped it and moved into a place in my heart that I hadn't been to in a long while. I moved into what I tried, which I think was a place of kindness, compassion, and grace. And it was for myself, and it was for the retreat center people, and it was for the construction workers next door who daily test my mental strength. And it was grace, compassion, and kindness for all in my life that was not going as planned. So I'm actually choosing to finish this night with these 3 beautiful reminders that spoke to me today in the middle of the dirty street. And I think I'm going to first start off by writing an email to the retreat center extending the compassion and grace that I had just received and that I get daily while totally not deserving of it. And this all starts with me and ends with me, and it's kindness, compassion, and grace that I want to see reflected in my own life today. So the feel-good moment of the day today was, through all of this, the silver lining was that my blood work I had done last week actually came back with miracles. I had total healthy liver. Everything came back fine with the liver, but I already knew that if you've read my other posts about my liver showing up in a picture last week, then I just knew it would be beautiful. And the pancreatic levels that have been really high actually are dropping a bit, which is a giant blessing. Overall, I feel like all the prayer and hard work in regards to taking care of myself is truly showing. So if you'd like to read this particular post, leave a comment and get all the links. You can go to extremehealthradio.com/KAB21. And that stands for Kate's Audio Blog 21. Thanks, guys. If you like this information, please help Justin and I out by subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. Just search for Extreme Health Radio, all one word. Justin and I have a ton of radio shows filled with authors, scientists, doctors, amazing people teaching you cutting-edge material and healing protocols that one day just might help save your or a loved one's life. Also, don't forget to grab our free gift to you by going to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and join thousands of others who have already done so. Thanks for listening.